It was this idea that they could heavily depend upon the North Sea oil, the natural resources, and it would, lasted forever, and this is what would, give us everything, such as, Ferraris in our driveways and everything, and we'd be the richest country in the world and all the rest of this. As I've pointed out before, the whole purpose of why the study of economics exists, it's a question of our place on this earth with scarce natural resources, and what scarcity means is the economic reality. Our expectations exceeds economic reality, and scarcity means there's not enough to go around everyone, and therefore the whole question of and why the study of economics exists, the whole question is about how do we better improve the material standards of living of the masses whilst using the fewest natural resources as possible. And as we've seen after the independence referendum, North Sea oil proved volatile. In fact, that's why you've seen the price drop dramatically. It would have led Scotland into a serious economic crisis. It was this mentality, like, we've got all these natural resources, we can just abuse it like there's no tomorrow, and as if that's how an economy is supposed to run. But that doesn't mean to say that the British government is any better. So, don't get the idea that because I voted no, that somehow this means that I supported the British government in any sort of way of where they wish to take things, because that isn't the case. From the likes of Mary Black, we had a lot of these arguments that, as if to say that if you voted no, you are responsible for all the things done in the past by a British government.
I don't understand how anybody who claims to be a champion of the poor can, when they're asked, do you want rid of Tories forever, they say with pride, no thanks.
It's no different to that of Westminster government and how it led us into the Iraq war. We didn't ask for that, the people didn't ask for that. And saying that just because I vote no to Scotland separating from the United Kingdom, saying that somehow I'm responsible for all these wars, just isn't the case. At the end of the day, just because you are proud to be British does not mean to say that you are proud of what the British government had done in the past. Being proud of being British does not mean to say that you supported all the wrongdoing in the past. In fact, when you look at economic history, such as in the 19th century, the British people were not really in favour or in line with that of their government. Even someone such as Milton Friedman had pointed out himself that the people rallied to protest in favour of free trade, and therefore they got their wish in 1843. I felt that Scotland's best chance to get away from the European Union and get Brexit was basically through the British Union. I felt that if Scotland had separated from the European Union, there could have been the threat the SNP was going to keep us part of the European Union, and I would not have favoured that. Although it is quite interesting because some may disagree that we weren't going to remain part of the European Union. Again, this is something you might personally disagree, but it was just my personal opinion that the best option at the time for Scotland to at least get away from all of that, to get proper Brexit, and things are still to go process. In other words, we might be faced with a soft Brexit, and I would favour a hard Brexit, and therefore I was someone who supported the United Kingdom Independence Party. I was someone who defended and admired, Nigel Farage for what he stood for. At the end of the day, I thought he'd done something credible for this country, and it's because of him that we got Brexit, and it's now a case of fighting for the hard Brexit to ensure that that goes through, and that fight is still on.